Hello guys, welcome back to another video. This is Stratus Forecast Weather once again. It's been a few months since I've uploaded a video, but I just wanted to kind of update you guys on a situation here. I've not been doing much of these videos, but that's besides the point. We've got a little bit of an interesting topic today. So there is indications of a tropical storm or hurricane that may be threatening the East Coast this upcoming week and the next week, possibly in the next 2 weeks. So the National Hurricane Center has marked an area of interest. This is a tropical development for 2 days and 50% development and 90% development in the next 7 days. The overall chance is high. This is the area that we are watching right now, coming off of Africa. This is the exact area that we are watching right now. So this is supposedly going to take a couple of turns. So it could easily just turn crazy left. It could kind of go like this, kind of spike by, or it could take a deeper dive and kind of outrun kind of like this. Now, obviously, this is the one we don't want. This one is the highest potential of land impact, but what's frustrating about this whole thing is once you get about, you can see the area of interest, it gets bigger the farther you go away from this side, and that's because there's more uncertainty, obviously. This is kind of like a tone track. So, if this continues to go the way like this, it will be likely a no land impact. If it kind of goes like this, or actually a little bit more in the middle, a little bit over this way, it'll be less of an impact. If it goes straight up like this, it's going to be a land impact, and likely it would strike North Carolina and then eventually go up, potentially near Cape Cod. Now we're going to take a look at the modeling data. I'll go back to it. So the area of interest is over here, and the ridging is what's blocking it. So as it continues to move, you're going to see this development here. Now you're seeing it's developing right across the just east of Florida. What's happening here is there's ridging blocking it from going anywhere, and this is concerning because if this bridging can break up right here, it has a direct path to go right up the East Coast, which is what the latest European AI model, the MWF AIFS model is showing. It's showing a closer land impact, and as it continues to move, it's going to strike potentially North Carolina and Virginia, and as it continues, it's going to re-strengthen and continue moving up the East Coast. This one has a little bit of a This latest one has kind of a strengthening position, and then kind of goes up the East Coast. If this were to happen, there is going to be high surge, and there's going to be plenty of rainfall, and there will be some gusty winds with this. So high pressure. So what's happening here, as you can see, there's ridging going along here. So I'm going to look at the actual precipitation map here. All right, so this is the latest European model run. It is still not fully ran out yet, but if we look here, this is the development here. This model, this is the actual regular European model. It's going a similar pattern with the European AI model. It takes a dive here. What's happening here is you've got bridging to the east here. We've got tons of bridging here, so there's nowhere to go. And believe it or not, this extra area of low pressure here, this one that comes through on the 18th, could have a lot to do with this this storm. So the DFS model wants to have this come through later and have the hurricane get swiped out to sea. But since we've got so much ridging that's handling here, and this is a very strong hurricane here, we've got ridging here, and we've got the area of low pressure here. So what happens is this gets out of here, that gets out of here, and then what happens is the high pressure breaks up here. High pressure is up here, but there's also ridging over here as well. If we watch it here, it continues to move up to the east. Now, the interesting part is, do we get this high pressure come in? The high pressure looks to me like it is moving more to the east. So this is not a good sign, but at the same time, we have an area of low pressure that's trying to form over here, which may kick this out to sea as well. So we're going to keep on seeing how this works out. But anyways, here's the ridging. You can see the ridging happening here. It's all here. There's ridging up here as well. Area of low pressure kind of sits around here. You can see where the blues are. As it continues, it gets kind of kicked out to sea almost, but it's too close to call almost. So then it tries to kick it out to sea. As you can see, the low pressure develops. This is within very close margins of what could happen. And if we look here, it gets very close to sea. And this is kind of the path I was looking for too, because I thought a lot of the runs were showing a wide variety of options. I think the Gulf of Mexico is the least of opportunities here. I think this European model does a pretty good job. Now, it's within miles off the coastline. You got to realize that. If we go to regional, It's within miles of the coastline. It's within just a few miles of the coastline. See, you can see that here. This is around the 21st. So what looks to me is there's another area. There's an area of pressure sticking around that's forming showers and thunderstorms around it, which prevents it from getting any closer. But it doesn't really matter because, yes, you get the least of the heavy rains, obviously, but then you've got, obviously, storm surge. If we look at the winds here, the winds are going to be gusty along the coast. I don't think it would be a terrible wind event, but I think they will be gusty. This is a much better opportunity here. This is a very strong storm, and the maximum wind gust for this would be around 20 to 30 miles per hour, so not near as bad as it could have been. The latest, as you can see here, if we go to wind on the latest European AI model, it's got a similar kind of thing to it. But if we just go back a model, you can see it brings it closer to shoreline. So this is like within very close margins. And just this is not just hearing, but some of the latest European model in the GFS models sort of say a few days ago had the storm kind of riding right along the coastline and make a direct impact on Maine and places like that, which causes high winds and damaging rains as well. But I want to go back to tropical here and kind of. So we have ridging happening. If this were to happen, which this is the less likelihood right now, because if we look at here, this kind of suggests that the storm is going to take a turn like this, which if it does, then there's less likelihood of it impacting wind. But let's say if it goes kind of like this, there's a more higher likelihood of impacting land. If we go here, let me see what they're talking about here. Yeah, if you can see the latest European model run from the 12Z, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. You can kind of see what they're suggesting. So if we look here, it's going to take in that general pattern, even though I think it's a bit farther. But all it takes is a little bit of momentum here. So if we get ridging here and this low pressure holds off and this high pressure gets stronger, it's within that. It's so close to land that I wouldn't be surprised if some sort of advisory gets issued when this occurs, because it wants to dive north. It wants to dive north here, and the area of interest is like right here, right? So it kind of takes a little bit more of a westerly turn, which is a much better scenario, but still, all it takes is a little bit of ridging, and it could push the storm all the way to the east, all the way to the east coast, and potentially cause an impact. This is still several days out within the 2-week mark right here, but this indicates that hurricane season is starting to ramp up. We can also take a look at the wind shear. I don't think it's a whole ton of wind shear that rips this thing apart, but basically what happens is this. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. So the GFS model pushes this front out a little bit too fast, pushes it a little bit later, which causes the storm to get kicked out to sea. But if this front here that comes from the 18th, this could impact this storm very significantly. It can either kick it out to sea or it can kick it. Even though we have ridging over here and we have ridging over here with the low pressure system, it doesn't matter, because if this continues to move, it comes out a little bit. The GFS model, the European model, is starting to agree here a little bit, but it's still kind of in the middle. But the European model wants to push out farther. Now there's still this ridging happening, and there's still this front hanging around. Say this front gets, I don't know why it's doing that, because this could be a huge player here. If this gets hold off, or if this gets out here, but before this hurricane gets here, this could be a very big problem. But the good news is the trends have been closer to this hurricane to going out to sea. But if this trends backwards and it starts to trend in the wrong direction, and you say this front is only 10 to 20, between 100 and 150 miles off to the northward, you get a hurricane impact. It's that close. Obviously, this is the better of the scenarios, and it kicks us off because the area of low pressure. This is an area of low pressure. If we look at the precipitation map and we look here, this area of low pressure could either save us or it could stop everything. So what's happening here is you have an area of low pressure that's kind of sticking around. This cold front kind of drags back and kind of pulls in like this, a very strong cold front. This could have the answer to everything, okay? If this cold front even gets stuck even 100 miles inland, this is a direct impact from a hurricane right here. Now, you'll see what I mean. The GFS model wants to hold it off a little bit farther. See what I mean? It wants to bring this in way in too fast. You can see the cold front there kicking out to sea. Okay, it wants to bring it in early. This is either a lifesaver or a non-lifesaver. But the part that frustrates me is even if we go back a few model runs, it brings it closer and closer to the coastline every time. The GFS model wants to bring this cold front out faster or out slower to prevent this hurricane from actually impacting land. But that cold front could literally be the game solver right there. But the problem with this is the GFS model has been also doing this crazy stuff where it's been pulling it closer to the sea because the cold front gets out sooner than the actual hurricane. So this cold front will literally either be a game changer or it will be our devastation because as you can see, this hurricane, the latest trends have pushed it farther out to sea, but literally, if this is what I'm saying, so if this, with the area of interest is like over here, right? So if the European model has a little bit farther to the north, this is obviously not the latest GFS model run, but it has a direct land here. So if we go back to the European model, if we go back to the latest European model, this is not the latest, sorry. If we go back to the latest European model, so if we go about 18, so it wants to, this is what I'm talking about. It wants to pull this cold front through way faster with the European model, which I think I'm right in the middle, so I think this cold front is more likely to be a little bit farther to the west. But let's say this happens, okay? And we keep on pushing this forward. There's ridging happening over here, so it has nowhere to go. This cold front is either going to stop this thing or it's going to continue, but it looks to me like it gets... And then another area of Liberty tries to develop here. High pressure's up here, which means it has really nowhere to go here besides go up this way. But it's so close to call because a low pressure system, this cold front still drags back through here. This is kind of the cold front over here, all the way back through here. This is literally a game changer here. So if this gets pushed through faster, which I don't see that happening because it's such a long cold front, it'll take probably several days to push through. This is literally a game changer for everything. And we're looking about 2 weeks out, but if this cold front pushes out even a little bit farther back, like the if this cold front, it's still latched on here, if this cold front gets stalled out just a few more days, this hurricane easily makes it right up into New England. That's how dangerously close this is. If this goes 100 to 150 miles inland, this next run will be inland. That is how close this is to call, okay? Now we can look at other model runs, but none of the other ones are really showing this. We can go with the GFS model, so here's the GFS model. You can see kind of where the area of pressure is. The GFS AI model, or the ensemble model, is like very weak with the storm system. And by the way, that can cause a create issue too. If this cold front holds off if this hurricane holds off farther, which this GFS model is indicating, this is a bad sign because you can obviously see, ridging, the ridging in the low pressure system. If it gets stalled off farther, then that is a problem, okay? That is a problem. Here's the Canadian model. So it kind of has a similar picture, but I think the Canadian model is a little bit too fast with the high pressure system, so like way over here, don't get out that fast. So that's what that's a question too you gotta ask. So here's the European model, AI model as well. It wants to hold this off farther. I want to go with a different model run, like one that goes a little bit farther out. Okay, here we go. So it wants to, see what I mean? If it holds off like this, and this is the tropical storm right here. This is the actual tropical storm right there. You see it? The one right here. This is the tropical storm, if not hurricane by then. It tries to pull it up, and the European model, AI model, wants to drag it up to the north. But what I'm saying is, if we go back into New England, because New England would likely be the strike zone for this thing if this thing does happen to make land impact. Come on. But it's so close to call because, see, this cold front, the cold fronts are usually what kick these things out to sea. So if we go back here, see how close this is? It's kind of floating. So I think there might be another system behind it, which is a bad indication, but also the models, the GFS model was indicating at two systems, one over here, one over here. Unfortunately, that does not look like it's going to happen. As you can see here, this cold front here is what's blocking this thing from entering the New England area. If this cold front gets out faster or it stalls longer, then there's a likelihood that this hurricane makes direct impact. Only problem is, here's what I'm talking about. So the jet stream would actually go like this. The jet stream, if it's farther south, it can actually bring this storm inland. So this is like close call here, guys. But it looks to me like right now it's still a strong hurricane, but it's not a land impact. But then you have this next storm you have to worry about potentially over here. I also want to talk about potential severe weather threat. Also, obviously, the heat going on in the northeast. If we go to the temperatures here, wait for this to load in. It's going to be hot in New England. Obviously, New England is prone to be hot, so here we go. So I want to talk about this in further detail here with the potential hurricane. So if we go ways out into the 18th, there's a cold front that pushes through here. Now, this could potentially cause severe weather. I don't know, it's too close to call, but you can see the outer banks of this hurricane try to form in. But I don't think this is the outer banks of the hurricane. I actually think this is the cold front itself. But you can see how close of a call this is. It's ridiculously close. This is obviously quite a while south, but as you can see, 18th, I would watch out for a severe weather threat, but I would like to see here, around the 18th, you have heating happening. Yeah, it looks hot, like really hot. 97 degrees, and then you have dew points hanging around here. This is around 2 p.m., right? This is kind of ways out, but you can see the dew points here are also extraordinarily high. I don't quite believe that it's going to be 97 degrees and dew points this high yet, since this is still quite a ways out. It is 8 days out, but it's still a ways out, so this is definitely something we'll keep an eye on. But this cold front could mean everything for both the hurricane and the severe weather threat as well. So if we go to the 18th here, we're looking at 100 plus degrees here. So I want to take a look at the Cape here, or the photographs. That works too. I think there's a severe weather threat around the 18th. I think it's a little bit too far out for the Storm Prediction Center to be issuing anything. But as you can see, there's definitely some convection happening. And if I can go, let's say we click right here, where this storm is right here. So this is a marginal severe. So I would watch out for the 18th for a severe weather threat as well. And then behind that would potentially be a hurricane. I don't know why it wants to. Yeah, okay. So then I would actually watch for another batch of area of low pressure as well. But hurricane, it's either. So this is how it could go. It could go a number of ways here. Okay, so it could take a far westerly turn like it's doing right now on this latest European model run. It could easily, and this is how dangerously close this is, okay? So even 100 miles to 150 miles off to the west means potentially closer to South Carolina. If this high pressure ridging gets farther to the north and it pulls out a little bit faster, like it's supposedly going to, then this cold front, if this ridging here, which the high pressure, there was a high pressure there, but the high pressure is still there. This is what's causing this hurricane to get so close, but it's so close to comfort that it's going to have to be watched for. So I could see this going a number of ways. So it could either form around here, it could go out to sea straight, it could go kind of like that suggestion, or it could push out farther to the west before this cold front gets pushed through. And the second this cold front gets pushed through, it gets blocked because there's nowhere for it to go, and then it potentially gets close to the coastline. It doesn't matter if there's a cold front there because it could either help this situation or not. It could help this. So the European model wants to continue to make it kind of like this, a deep turn, and then it kind of wants to drag it back to the west a little bit farther, and then it continues going on, and then there it goes, just like that. But then there's another area of interest to watch after that, which this is kind of ways out, so I'm not sure exactly how I agree with that yet. So this is either a really bad situation or it's a miss. That's the two options here. Very bad option. You either have this option that goes straight out to sea, you have this option that kind of hangs close to the coastline but still gets pushed out to sea slightly, or you get this other option that gets closer to the west, which is also a potential right now. I'd say it's a lower likelihood right now, just due to the fact that we have more model data coming in and it's suggesting that it pulls farther to the east, or we have it kind of hug closer. Even if it goes 150 miles, it's that close. It could literally strike the northeast. And just to put this into perspective, it has been 56 years since a hurricane has hit the northeast whatsoever. Maine, it was Gerda, way back in the late 1900s, or it's a close call. Either way. So if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe. I will continue to make updates on this because this is very important to me. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.